So, and some other people believe that, oh, I am running in so many debts. So how do I pay them off? How do I get off from these debts that I found myself? And I tell people it's not necessary that you start earning more money before you get off from your existing debts. It's not until you earn more money before you start settling your debts. What is important is that you, yeah, sorry, I'm trying to do some setting. Okay, 10 tips to be debt free. Okay, thank you, Lizzie, for dropping the title. Let me see. I'm not a Gen Z, so don't mind me. Pin this comment. Let me see if I can pin a comment. Um, okay, continue to your live session. Okay. Okay, so the comment is scrolling on the screen. 10 simple tips to be debt free. The comment is going.
Most of these features can be done. I've made that version. Most of the feature can be done. Because it's low. She did the first time. So make the right skip her. So most of those features can be done. We'll search it.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm gonna be switching between my Zoom, which is showing on the YouTube, and then my TikTok. Okay, so 10 tips to be debt free. We are going straight into the topic now. 10 tips to be debt free. A lot of people believe that you have to start earning more money before you get out of your existing debt. Many of us have debt in different ways. We have debt with our bank, we have debt with friends, we have debt with family, our landlord. We have a lot of things that we wanted to pay that we've not been able to meet those bills. So we are having so much on our head to settle in terms of obligations, financial obligations, but our income, what comes into us at the end of the month, is actually not meeting the expectation. So we are having less than what we needed. So the point now is at the end of the month, what comes into us as income cannot meet all our bills. That is the beginning of debt. What actually causes debt? Number one is when you are earning more than what you are spending. So if you want to get out of debt, you first need to earn more money. So you first need to earn more money. Yes, users on Facebook. Okay, you can also join on Facebook. Okay, thank you. So I will be switching between different, okay, to share this right to my status. Sorry, my technical team are showing me what to do now. Thank you for that. Okay, so we can also share it on Facebook, right? Okay, so Facebook too can go live. Oh, okay. Um, okay, it's loading now. 10 simple tips to be debt free. Going live on TikTok, Facebook, and also I think this camera is showing the back. Okay. 10 simple tips to be debt free. Yeah, 10 simple tips to be debt free. That's the topic we're quickly going on live to discuss this evening. And it's going to be a very short one. It's going to be a very short one. So thank you for joining. For those joining on TikTok, thank you for joining. For those on YouTube, keep popping in your messages if you have any question or you want to, what you feel like about being debt free. Thank you everyone that is on the TikTok live, and thank you for those joining on Facebook. This is a multi platform live session, but I'm going to be looking more into my TikTok camera so that we can have more contact, face contact as much as possible. So for those joining on YouTube, on Facebook, please don't mind me if I'm looking at too many screens. So like I said earlier, we are going to be discussing 10 tips, 10 simple tips to be debt-free without earning extra. 10 simple tips to be debt-free without actually earning extra income. So what are those 10 tips that you need to consider to be debt-free without you earning extra income? I will be giving some example from my personal experience as well. So now this is it. Debt, like I said, for those of you that are just joining, how does debt comes in? Debt comes in from when your income is actually less than your expenses. That is, you are earning less than what you are spending. So what you spend at the end of every month is far below what you spend at the end of every month is far above what you earn. So more money is actually going out while less money is coming in. So that begins to trigger the needs for debt. So the first thing is that you need to identify that you don't run into debt if you have excess. So it is important to you to understand that debt does not come in when you have excess. Actually, there are some people that have extra money actually that still wants to borrow, but that is not the case here. When you have some needs to do something, when you have some needs to do something and you are unable to do it, you and it's an important needs is an important needs that you needed to meet. You want to like, okay, I need to do this thing, but I don't have the needs. So then that triggers you to say, okay, how can I meet this obligation, especially when it is an emergency? So when you are in needs of something and you couldn't meet that need, then debts begin to trigger in. You may want to meet a friend, you may want to meet a loved one, you may want to meet family, relatives to say that, please, I need this particular thing. I need to do it urgently. Can you give me X amount of naira, 500 naira, 1,000, 5 million, 10 pounds, 200 pounds, irrespective of the amount? You want to say that I need this money. So the moment you ask for that help, then debt is setting in. It is not a bad thing to actually be in debt. Debt is not credit. Let me say credit this time around is not a bad thing. So don't always feel bad when you are asking for financial help in terms of credit, because even in some developed countries like the United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, a lot of developed countries live by credit. They live based on credit. So the truth is, their economy runs on credit. When you want to buy a car, you buy it on credit. When you want to buy a mortgage, that's house, you buy it on credit. When you want to how do I call it? When you want to buy a mobile phone, is on credit. A lot of things runs on credit in gadgets, devices. You buy them on credit, so it's not a bad thing to have credit. The bad thing is when you are not able to meet your obligations, and the obligations of you as a debtor is to give out to pay back the repayment as and when due, is to pay back your repayment as and when due. So if you get a credit, you become a debtor, and the person that is giving you that credit becomes a creditor. So for that reason, you need to meet those obligations of you paying back. So it is now when you are unable to meet your obligations that the credit becomes a bad debt. So then when it's now no, not really a bad debt, it's a default. It is when you cannot pay back at all, then the person that gives you that money, that's the creditor, now terms it as a bad debt. So nobody wants to be a debtor that cannot pay back. So like I said earlier, it is not a bad thing to have credit, to have loans or debt on you. It is not a bad thing. The bad thing is when you are unable to pay your loans or credit and you are not concerned. You are not concerned about it. Then there's another bad thing when you are having too many debts. Too many debts. When you keep piling up debt on you, some of us, we just hear that a friend will just call us bandwagon. They will just call us and say, Tolu, there is one app now. You can, if you download that app now, they will give you 20K. Download it now. Tolu, that person that is calling, Tolu may not even need that 20K. She may not need that 20K, or he may not need that 20K. But because you don't even have a budget, a plan for yourself, you just jump into it and quickly you are downloading the app, you are uploading your BVN, your NIN, your credit score for those of you in UK or Nigeria, because I will be talking to those in the UK and those in Nigeria, because I want the topic to benefit these two set of people. That's my followers in the United Kingdom and my followers in the UK and in Nigeria. So some of them, they don't even have needs for this money. They just jump into it and start to upload their BVN, their NIN, and the likes, not knowing that the moment you are putting in your BVN, your NIN, your national insurance number, or your bank details, if you are in the UK, you are already establishing a credit. You are already establishing that your credit score should be, a credit check should be done on you. And that begins to put you on the credit bureau register. There is a central register of credit bureau where every debtors are being managed. So you have to be very careful before you jump into any debt. You have to ask yourself a question: do I really need this money? What do I need it for? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself before you jump into any debt. Do I really need this money? What exactly do I need it for? If you are just joining this live session, you can share, you can like, you can comment, just to let someone that you think needs to hear this know about it. How to 10 simple tips to become debt-free without you earning extra. That is the topic we're discussing this evening. And I would be coming up with this kind of topic. My managers and likes just told me that there are a lot of things that I told them, especially the FinREMIT team. They said there are a lot of topics that are going out that we needed to push out to the general public, and we needed to do it in form of a live session. And that is the reason why this topic is coming on today. So how can you be debt-free without you earning extra? So I've said it earlier. Before you go into debt, before you start securing any form of debt, first ask yourself a question: do I really need this money? That is number one. Number two, after you ask that question, do I need this money? The number two is, do I have the capacity to pay back? Do I have the capacity to pay back? Don't just go and take a loan or get an extra, how do I call it? Or get an extra, um, sorry, I think I have a notification on Facebook. Okay. So don't just go and get a loan or add extra debt to yourself just because you just need that money. You need to also look at your repayment capacity. Do you have the capacity to pay back? If you don't have the capacity to pay back, then don't go for it. Don't go for it. No matter how urgent, no matter how important that is, try to let the person that is giving you, if the person can give it to you as a gift, as a gift, that would be better. And if you know you can't pay back, tell the person at that spot that you can't pay back. And you don't go and put yourself on an obligation that you don't have the capacity. So these are the caveats that I needed to quickly run out before I go deep into the topic for today. So now let's go deep into the topic because I don't want us to waste much of our time. 10 simple tips to become debt-free without earning extra. Like I said, many people believe that when they have a debt on their head, the first thing they needed to do to get out of those debts is to start earning more money. No, it is not necessary that you earn more money before you get out of your existing debt. So if you are living in the UK, like I said, or Nigeria, and you are tired of debt, listen to this carefully. You don't need extra income. You don't need extra income. What you need is these 10 steps that I want to tell you in this live session. 10 simple steps to get out of debt. And the number one step, we are going deep now. The number one step is know your money. If you can write it down, please write it down. If you can save this video, please save it. If you can share it to other platforms, please do. For you to get out of debt, for you to be debt free without earning extra, you need to know your money. And how do you know your money? Know your money means know what you want, know what you have, know what you need. So I said, write down everything you earn and everything you spend. You can't fight what you can't see. You see, the truth about it is that some of us jump into incurring another debt or extra debt just because we don't know what exactly we need. If you know that you don't have the capacity to pay back a debt, then don't incur that debt. I say that again. If you don't have the capacity, if your income level is not up to it, don't incur that debt. And I kept telling people, you already have bills on your income. You have bills of your house rent, your electricity bill. You have a lot of bills that you are obliged to pay. So if you want to add another obligation to yourselves, check it very well. Like I said earlier, do you really need to expend on this? Is this particular expenses on my budget? Is it on my budget? I used to tell people sometimes when I have a session that before you before you spend your income, you need to put it on your needs, your wants, and your savings. Many of us, you can't even talk about savings when you have so much of debt. So that is why you need to know your money very well. You need to know the proportion of your income that you have to spend on needs. Needs are those things that you cannot do without. I've talked severally on this kind of topic, so you can go to our YouTube channel to see more on that. Needs are things you cannot do without, like feeding, transporting yourself to work. Needs are things like when you your house rent, your bill, electricity bill, water rates, and the likes, gas for those of us in the UK, and for those in Nigeria, your house rent, your electricity bill, your feeding, and all of these are needs. So you need to know your money, know where what you are earning and what you are spending your money on. And I tell you that 50% of your money, of your salaries, of your income, whichever form of it comes, 50% should go to your needs. 50% should go to your needs and 30% to your wants. That is, the wants are things that you needed, but they are not very important. So 30% can go to want, and the remaining 20% should go to savings. So number one tips to avoid going into debt is to know your money. Know your money and appropriate them accordingly. Don't just jump into expenditures. Don't just jump into I needed to pay this money, I needed to pay these expenses, and you jump into to start those. It is not, it is pushing you towards debt. You see, let me tell you something about debt. Debt is not when you borrow money. Debt, like I said, for those of you that did not join at the beginning, debt is when you are spending more than what you are earning. The moment you start spending more than your means, then you are going into debt, because you are going to go into negative. Then the moment you go into negative, then that debt is already setting in. So I say it again, number one tips is know your money. Know where your money is coming from and what is going to. And have a budget of what you want to spend. Don't spend randomly. Don't just be an impulse spender. I did a video on that on my TikTok, and I said avoid impulse spending. Impulse spending is somebody just jump onto you and say, "Oh, all right, this so thing is coming. Oh, I need you to also be part of it," and you jumped into it and you started spending on that. The moment you are spending out of your budget, you are already inviting debt. You are already inviting debt. For those of us that are just joining, the topic is 10 simple tips to become debt-free without you earning extra. So I said earlier, I said number one is know your money. And then number two is sort needs from wants. Sort your needs from your wants. Like I said, many of us, we just spend money every month without knowing which one is actually important and which one is not important. You see, the truth is that your want can be avoided. But some of us, when we have money, the first thing we jump on is our want. We don't go to our need. Our needs are things that we must do first. The wants are supposed to be done later if we have excess. Let me give you an instance, and it's a practical one. If you are you have Netflix subscription to pay, you have internet subscription to pay, and you also have a mobile phone to pay, you should look at it carefully. From these three: Netflix subscription, internet subscription, and normal mobile call credit. These are three important things that you needed to do. You need to sort it out. Which of these three is a want and which of it is a need? The one that is the want should be the one that you will do first. The one that is the need should come later. So for some of you, if your business or what you are using to make money does not have need for Netflix, like for example, Netflix or YouTube Premium or something like that, subscribing to Netflix is a want. You just want to have entertainment. You just want to be entertained. It's not a need that I must watch these movies. Actually, it is part of it to entertain yourself, to at least relax sometimes. But it is not, if it is not a need, don't spend on them first. Then you now look at it. The next thing now is our call credit and internet. Then you look at it and said, of these two, which one is a need, which one is a want? How many of you does this? How many of you carefully look at your expenses and sort it out before you actually pay for it? People may say that he doesn't spend money, and he always check before he spend money. Before you buy anything, I'm saying it again, ask yourself, do I really need this or I just want it? If you need it, you need it, then spend the money and you have it. Let me say that. But if you don't need it, if it is something you just want, leave it for now. That is the number two ways to avoid debt, to be debt free. Need should go first, and then want should come next. Even some of the point that I'm giving, that I will be giving you, needs also needs to be carefully sorted. It's a need, but you need to carefully sort it. So after that, you go to the number three tips. For those of you just joining the session, we are still talking on 10 tips to be debt free without earning extra income. And number three is create a basic budget. Create a basic budget. You don't really need to have a big exercise book or Excel template or something to have a budget. A simple basic budget can just be a note on your pad where you just write it out and say, these are the things I need. So plan only for what you must pay for in your budget. For example, your rent and house. For those of us in the countries like UK, US, Canada, we know that you need to pay for your rent and house perhaps on monthly basis, especially in the UK and US or some other developed country. In Nigeria, they pay annual. So you pay your rent annually. And for those that are homeowners, especially homeowners in Nigeria, homeowners in Nigeria does not really pay homeowners in Nigeria does not really pay rent because you are homeowners. But some homeowners in the UK, US, they still pay mortgage if you did not outrightly buy your home. So what are we trying to say? So if you are an homeowner, you also need to budget for your rent and house. There is a use of home. Just the fact being that you don't pay rent as an homeowner does not mean that you should not make a budget for it. That is the number one tips for you when you are creating your budget. The number two tips is, if you are in Nigeria and you are paying your rent annually, I tell people, divide your annual rent, divide it by 12, and keep the monthly rent out of your monthly income. Because many of us wait until the last 2 months or the last month of paying rent to now start sourcing for the money for your annual rent, especially in Nigeria. So you are having a rent of 300,000 naira, and you are living in a home of 300,000 to pay rent, and you are now waiting till the 10th month before you Thank you. Thank you. So you are waiting for the 10th month before you now start looking for 300,000. And maybe your monthly income, what comes to you every month is around 50,000. Maybe what comes to you every month is around 50,000, or let's even say 100,000. So you are earning 100,000 and you are to pay rent of 300,000 and you are waiting for the last 2 months. What that implies is that on that last 2 months, you cannot do anything on your feeding, you cannot do anything on transport, you cannot do anything on any other expenses because you have to use maybe 80% or 100% of your salary to merge it together to pay rent. That is because you did not plan for your rent on monthly basis. So, and what makes it easy for you is to have a budget. So divide your rent by 12, then deduct it from your monthly income and pay that money into a savings account that you cannot have access to. Perhaps a savings account that you don't have cards on, you can't swipe cards on it or something. You have to just plan what you spend. The next is feeding. No one can do without feeding. So you need to make a good budget for feeding. Then your transport. But what is important is cut out anything extra till all your debts are gone. So when you have debts on you and the debts are much, try as much as possible when you are doing your budget, cut out extra. When you are budgeting for your rent and you have a lot of debt on you, then try to cut your rent. If you know that your income cannot take 300,000 house rent per annum, and there is a way you can cut it down significantly, then it's important you do that. So I say that again, cut any extra until all your debts are gone. For some of us, some people even tell you that you have a 6-bedroom house or 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, that you can't sleep more than one. So what is important is before you start talking about luxury, if you are running in so many debts, then you first talk about financial comfort. You need to first be financially sufficient before you start talking about luxury. Number 4 tips to be debt free is negotiate your bill. This one, I'm going to emphasize so much on it. I'm going to emphasize so much on this, negotiate your bill. And the reason why I'm going to emphasize on it is I'm going to give myself as a practical example. You see, when you know that you have so many debts on you, or you are spending more than what you are getting, there is no crime to negotiate your bills. Many people believe that if I call that I want to reduce these expenses, they may be thinking that I don't have money. No, it's not about being poor. You see, one thing is that when you are trying to form levels, and you are putting yourself on the debt that or the expenses that you cannot afford, that is when you put yourself in a trouble that will now lead to debt. Be open to yourself and be sincere to yourself. Your monthly salary cannot meet this lifestyle you want to start living. Then why can't you first negotiate your bills? How do you negotiate your bills? For those in the UK, for example, you can call your providers. Okay, this is what I did yesterday. My daughter came to me and said she got a debit alert, and I was like, okay, what's that on? And it's on Amazon. And I said, which Amazon? She said, Amazon Music. I said, Amazon Music. I never knew that I've made a subscription to Amazon Music and they are deducting £10.99 every month. So that particular transaction now, she used her card on my Amazon for a transaction and then she forgot to remove her card. So the next bill was removed from her card. And she came and said, Dad, did you pay Amazon? And I said, no, I'm not the one. And we checked. When I now check my Amazon Music, I'm already paying for Amazon Prime. And when I have Amazon Prime, that should give me access to Amazon Music based on what I understand. And I was like, no, they're not supposed to charge us for music again. So in my mind, I already wanted to call them that this bill you've put on me is not supposed to be. So now I'm challenging you out there. Go to your mobile phone now. You don't know some money that are leaving your bank, 50 naira, 100 naira, 200 naira, that is as a result of some app that you downloaded that you are not even using. So go to your app and start checking, or go to your bank statements. How many of you download your bank statement to even check which money are really going out. Some little money like 500 naira, 300 naira can make a difference. So you go to your mobile app and try to check which subscription do you have that you are not using. So we're discussing and I said, no, I don't need Amazon Music. I'm already paying for Amazon Premium, YouTube Premium, which I can use for YouTube Music. And then we are already paying for Amazon Prime. Then why paying £10.99 again for Amazon Music every month? So myself and my daughter, we went into the app to my Amazon and we check. And to my surprise, they've been deducting this money since June 2024, June 2023. And I was like, imagine. And I never knew this money is leaving. So one thing I did was I had to just stop the subscription, although they've deduct for that month. So I stopped the subscription and I said, I'm not needing it anymore. The next thing, while we were doing that, I now saw one Ayu, Hayu. And I said, what is Ayu? I'm not subscribing to Ayu. And they said it's Amazon Prime Video. There is an Ayu extra. I never watched Ayu. That is £4.99. Immediately, we blocked that subscription as well. And as we're speaking, we're already saving almost 15 to 20 pounds. And that happens, that has continued to happen for long. So what are we saying here? If you are on electricity bill of pay as you go, that is, if you are using a smart meter and the likes, you can find a way to cut your electricity bill. If you are on this direct bill, there is this one that they will just keep giving you estimates. Call the person in charge and said, please, is it possible that I will negotiate your bill? That is just the point. Number 4 point, to be debt free. Negotiate your bill. Don't put all the bills on your head because you want to form big boy or you want to form big man. If you are 3 in the house and you are the only one paying for electricity, call your neighbors and say, guys, we need to talk this thing out. Oh, I can't bear this bill alone. Because the moment, like I said at the introduction, the moment you are spending more than what you are getting, you are running into debt. The moment you are spending more than what you are earning, you are running into debt. So the only way to save yourself from debt is to, and you can't increase your income. I will say that again. The only way you can save yourself from debt when you cannot increase your income is to cut your cost. So negotiate all your bills, your phone, your electricity, your insurance, your what other bills. So I'm saying this mostly for those in the UK. Then for those in Nigeria, what are the key bills that you do? Yeah, you do bills like internet, like subscriptions to Netflix, YouTube, and the likes. Some other bills like electricity. Cut those bills to the barest minimum. Where possible, ask for discount. And for some that you have even been dealing with them for long, tell them, do you know what happened? One thing that interests me much, and that is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, was that when we now decided to stop some of the Amazon subscription, they now sent a message and said, we saw that you are stopping your subscription. We can give you what they were deducting £10.99 before. They now said we can give you at £8.99. I was now telling my daughter, imagine. So is it when I was now stopping the subscription, Amazon Music that I'm not listening to? It was when I'm now stopping the subscription that you are now offering me a reduction. That is for you to understand that when you start to cut your bills, some discounts will start coming in. Some will start offering you discount because they don't want you to go. So cut your bills. The number 5 points, for those that is just joining, we are discussing 10 steps to be debt free without earning extra. 10 simple steps to be debt free without earning extra. The number 5 is face your debt. And that is where the topic of today is actually going to be. Face your debt. You see, the truth is, now before I go to face your debt, still on negotiate your bill, which is number 4. There is another thing that I did. There is this provider that I've been using that almost at the end of every month, they are charging me a huge sum. They provide energy, there's electricity, gas, and the likes, and it's a huge sum. And I just felt like, okay, somebody introduced me to another provider and said, why not talk to the provider if they would, and I wasn't even in need of it. I wasn't thinking that I needed to cut that cost. But when I now checked the offer from the other provider, and I was like, wow. So this other provider can even give me cheaper, saving me close to 20% of what I'm spending before. So for that reason, I just jumped into it and I knock off the previous provider. And they were calling me, we saw that you are leaving, we can give you discount. And I was like, so you can do this. So negotiate your bill. If you are using MTN, don't say because you have been using MTN for life and you have to continue using MTN. If it is Glo that is cheaper, go to Glo. And if it is vice versa, if MTN is Glo is too expensive and it's Glo MTN that is Glo that is MTN that is cheaper, switch. I don't know if that is possible in Nigeria anyway, but in the UK you can switch without changing your number. That it will still be the same number, but you will now be using another provider. I remember Nigeria used to do it then. They said port when you port to another line, but I don't know if that is still existing. But the bottom line is cut your cost, negotiate your bills if you want to truly be debt free. And number 5 points, I'm back on number 5 point. Number 5 point is face your debt. Don't run from it. Face it. Now you collect money, now you go pay am back. So don't say, the debtor is coming, the creditor is coming, you are running away. Or don't run away. Because the truth is, you can't run away from it, especially for some of us that are taking mobile app loan. This app is there, you download, you use. The moment you have uploaded your BVN to it, you are already putting yourself in financial trouble. Because your BVN is going to Central Credit Bureau platform, and that is a big trouble if you needed some other loans for business purposes or for some other purpose. In fact, it's going to affect your credit rating. It's just unfortunate that we don't have a centralized credit scoring or rating in Nigeria yet. But if it's in countries like the United Kingdom and the likes, you can't run away from your debt. So face your debt. Face your debt. I'm going to do another video on what brings debt, especially for those living in the UK. Debt, charges. Some people run away from charges, penalties like drive parking charges. I'm talking to UK residents now. You park in a place, they give you charges. You collect your charges notice and you dump it somewhere. There, you went to drive in a high speed. You pass through high speed camera. They sent you bill. You went all these motoring fines that you are having and you are running away from them. They are going to come back to you. They are not something you can run away from. So don't run from your debt. Face your debt. Don't ignore your debt. Don't hide from it. The first thing that you need to do is contact your lenders. I remember when I was in the bank and when during our banking and finance years, there is debt restructuring. There is what we call debt restructuring. You see, one thing is when your debt lender or creditor, when they know that you are talking to them, you are telling them that, yes, I've not forgotten you. You are telling them your situation. Yes, I know I'm owing you money, but presently my financial situation cannot pay you. It cannot pay you. And some debtors, some creditors, they will even be adding interest to it to the extent that the money will keep accumulating. And then you will start now paying for what you are not using. Because when you pay interest on a loan that is due, the implication, and the money is not with you, the implication is that your financial position is going to negative. Your net present value will continue to go negative. I will give you a simple example. You borrowed 10,000 naira. You have used the 10,000 naira to settle the bill or whatever thing you wanted to use it for. Now, you cannot pay back the 10,000 because you are not earning up to what you need to pay back that 10,000. So you can't pay back the 10,000 that you've borrowed. The person that gave you that money is now adding 1,000 to it every month. Maybe the interest is like 5% per month or something. That's like is adding maybe 5,000, 500 to it every month. What that implies is that in 10 months, that 10,000 that you couldn't pay will turn to 15,000. Do you know that the 10,000 is actually not with you? Assuming you are using that 10,000 to buy a product, maybe you are buying Jimpo Ori with 10,000 and you are selling it to make 11,000. That can make you know that, yes, I am buying a product and I'm selling it. But the truth is, you are not buying any product. You are not buying a product you are not making profit from the money you have borrowed, and they are adding more interest to you, it's going to continually put you in a negative situation. So you continue to be financially negative. So what you can do is contact your lender. Tell them, can you stop interest? Can you stop interest so that I can just face the principal? You know, some lenders will not take that because they also have a cost of capital to themselves. Or can you tell them that, can I be doing interest only? I will be paying only the interest part of it so that I can at least not continually accumulate more interest, because the truth is that interest is always on compound base, is always compounding. And when I mean by compounding is that I will do another video on this in another day so that you understand how interest accumulates. You are owing me 10,000 and you have to pay me 10% every month. That means by the end of month one, you are no longer owing me 10,000. You are now owing me 11,000. So by month two, the lender will now say, you are owing me 11,000. So they will now calculate 10% of 11,000, which is 1,100. So by month three, it is now 12,100. So by month four, so that is why most people that uses app to borrow, you will borrow 10,000 and you will be running away to pay 10,000. Later, they will tell you that the 10,000 is now 15 or 20,000. It's not that they are just adding your money up. And some of them will be swearing. Àwọn wèrè, wọ́n kàn há dowó mi lọ. Wọ́n á ní mi ò ní sanwó kankan. The moment you keep arguing that you won't pay, the money keeps accumulating. But if you agree with your lender that can I be doing interest only, what that implies is that you will only be reducing, you will be paying the interest, the 1,000, but that 10,000 will not increase and it will not be compounding, which will now complicate your problem eventually. So call your lender, explain your situation to them, ask for payment plan or debt restructuring. When you run from your debt, it makes things worse. So talking to your lender, talking to your provider, whether it is even your friend, brings solution. Somebody is owing you, you are owing somebody money and you are still calling him and saying, "Ọ̀rẹ́ má bínú." It's not that I don't want to pay your money. I'm calling you deliberately now that this is the situation I'm facing. Can I be giving you 50 naira every day? That means maybe the money you are supposed to buy a cup of coffee or to buy kilishi or something, you are just using it to liquidate that debt stylishly. What I say earlier is face your debt. That's number 5. Then number 6 is be careful with too many debts. Be careful with too many debts. I've said it earlier. Some of us are owing 10,000 from one app. The moment that app is pursuing us for it, we now go to another app to borrow 15,000. We will now take the 10,000 from this one to pay for this other one, and so that we will now be owing. The indirect thing is that you have increased your debt to 15,000, but in your mind you thought you have settled one debt. So be careful with too many debt. Holding too many debt is dangerous. When you have too many debts on you, your stress increases. It increases your stress. It has mental effect on you. It has emotional effect on you. And if you are in the country like UK, US, Canada, and the likes, your credit score will get worse. So when somebody approaches you and say, I now have so credit card, I have American Express, I have Amazon Express, I have Aldi Express, I have this Express. The moment they kept telling you these kinds of different credit cards and you are getting those cards, you are increasing your debt and you are increasing your liabilities. And at the long run, your credit score will get worse. And when your credit score becomes worse, then your financial future becomes shakier. You will begin to have, you may want to even buy a house or a mortgage, and they will be telling you you are not qualified. The reason is because you have actually overstretched your capacity. So one thing I will say is less debt is equal to more peace of mind. Number 7 is stop borrowing for now. As much as you can, as much as possible, try to avoid borrowing. As we are still talking on 10 simple steps to be debt-free without earning extra. If you are not earning extra money, then stop borrowing for now. Stop borrowing for now. I've said that earlier at the beginning. I said, if possible, instead of you borrowing, then you can even seek for help, seek for financial assistance rather than borrowing. Seek for help, seek for financial assistance rather than borrowing. Somebody is trying to send me an audio. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so we are back now. Sorry, I'm trying to do my TikTok setting back. Okay, so stop borrowing for now. Pause credit card, loans, and buy now. There are a lot of apps that you visit and they will say, we are giving you for 10,000. This is a quickly buy and pay later, or buy and pay small. Buy and do this. All those buy now, pay later. There is no other word for it. It is a debt. Buy now, pay later. Some things you don't even need because you saw buy now, pay later. You jump at it. Some of you already had gadget. You jump at it and buying another new gadget. You are not carrying many phones ahead, but you are not having rest of mind. Many gadgets around, but you don't have rest of mind. So avoid it. Pause credit for now. Pause credit. Focus on clearing what you already hold first. And I said it earlier, don't run away from your debt too. Number 8, pay small debt first. And in finances, we call them debt snowball. So all those small debts, all those debts that are not too significant, all those, don't just like, okay, first do a snowball approach. When you do a snowball approach, it means that you are first settling the small ones. I'm owing this one 5,000. I'm owing this one 100,000. I'm owing this one 300,000. Don't say, oh, well, that this one is small and you abandon that one. Take the 5,000 one, pay it off. If you can have 5,000 off, then you know that if it is 5 of them before, they are now left with 4. Pick the smallest one again, pay it off. So it's called snowball. So do a snowball approach and pay them off as they are in their order. So list your debt from the smallest to the biggest and pay off the smallest one first. Then when you, like I said, when you pay off those small ones, you begin to get motivated that they are no longer many. And that motivation will keep you going gradually. Because of our time, I will run through these last 2 quickly and then we close. Number 9 is cancel unused subscription. Like I've said that earlier and I said it extensively. Look at your monthly subscription like Netflix, some of us that are going for gym, music apps, like what I did. So cancel all of those subscriptions that you are not using, especially when you are not aware that they are still deducting your money. Cancel them. Cancel them. Then the last point to be debt-free is try no spend days. This is a very serious challenge and I don't know if you can do it. Just put yourself on a day and said, today is no spend days. So challenge yourself with this. 1 day of a week, just pick it that this Wednesdays or every Wednesdays is no spend day for me. I'm not going to spend a dime this Wednesday and see if it is possible. If you need to transport yourself, get someone that will give you a lift. Turn yourself to beggar that day and said, I need to follow you for a lift. I will be at the junction to just remove big boy or big girl and just say that today is no spend day. In the office, just decide to say that, okay, I'm going to go on fasting. I'll be praying. So pick 1 day or a weekend where you spend 0 or anything that does not survivor. That is either you spend 0 or you don't spend, you spend on things that are only essential. That on this day, no extra money on anything. It's just my transport and my food. Any other thing is 0. Try it, and if you're able to do it, then you are moving towards being debt-free. Or in conclusion, debt freedom is not about any more money. Don't wait until you earn more money before you feel like you are going to get out of those debts. It's about managing what you have already wisely, 1 step at a time. And I've already given you the 5 steps. So I want to say big thank you for joining this session. And I want to believe that you have learned a bit from this session, which is 10 simple tips on being debt-free without earning extra income. Try to avoid put all these 10 tips into use. And if you miss this session, we're going to put the recording back so you can do a replay. So thank you all for joining this session, and see you again when I will be talking on another interesting topic. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. Oh, how do I handle? How do I end my life session?